Good afternoon and welcome to the State of North Carolina Agency Meet and Greet Series. My name is Andrea Bennett and I lead a program called Ed to NC, operated through the North Carolina Office of State of Human Resources. The main goal of this program is to excite, motivate, and encourage college students, alumni, and early career professionals into rewarding careers in state government. Thank you all for joining us here today for our rescheduled session with the North Carolina Office of Temporary Solutions. Thank you so much for joining us here today. And without further ado, Temporary Solutions.
Thank you very much, Andrea, and it's a pleasure to be here. Wanted to say that how excited we were to come on and actually share a few tidbits of what we do here at Temporary Solutions and how we support the Office of State Human Resources vision as it relates to temporary employment for our state agencies. I mean, because a lot of people really don't know one that we exist and then what we do and how we actually do that and through our processes. So I'm definitely excited to be here and want to be able to hopefully add some insight to the people that may be listening and be a part of our presentation today to make them actually consider working for the state of North Carolina, either in the interim process or look forward to doing something immediately after college and actually come into public service. So at that point, I turn it over to you.
Oh, no, Eddie, if you don't mind sharing more details about Temp
Oh, sure. I
Solutions.
thought I wanted to make sure. I didn't know if we had anybody in the waiting room or that may have had a
Oh,
question or
no, no,
anything.
not at all, sir.
Okay, good. Outstanding. Well, the temporary solutions overall vision is, as a member of the North Carolina Office of State Human Resources, is to help the state agencies, the cabinet agencies as well, with their temporary employment needs. So, for an example, if we have a state employee that has to go out on medical leave or a maybe growth process within the division and they need someone to come in for a short-term assignment and they don't have a recommended candidate, or even if they do have a recommended candidate, someone that's, let's say, a state retiree that did that particular role while they were a part of the state uh, employee family, and they put in that request through our portal, which you can find out portal on the North Carolina Office of State Human Resources website, and they put that temporary employment request in. We here get it, and then we reach out to the recommended candidate and we onboard that person for that period of time. Now, some of the assignments can last anywhere from a day up to 11 months because the state statute that governs temporary work through the state governs our actions in terms of how long we can have a temp on board before we have to, put them in a different category as a full-time employee. So that means, benefits come along with that. So if they average a certain number of hours over 11-month period, and they're still on temp assignment, because you can work 11 months straight through the state with a temp assignment, and then you have to take a 31-day break by law. And once you take that 31-day break, then you're open to come back and start working in a temp capacity again. Maybe not even that same assignment that you had previously. If there was something else out there that, of course, was attractive to you based on your skill set, you can apply for that particular position, and then your 11th month start all over again. So we have a lot of people doing that. Like I said, state retirees that bring a certain skill set back to the agency to, kind of help with that experience level in a particular situation. And then again, young people who are looking for something, and folks who just want to get back in the workforce. Temporary solutions gives them that opportunity, maybe to broaden their skill sets. Maybe they've gone back to school and they might have been in the department, or maybe been in let's say mm, something like law enforcement, and they did that for a while. But while they were in law enforcement, during the course of their career, they took some computer courses or information technology courses, and they've got now certifications or graduate degrees or undergraduate degrees in that area, and they want to, start a new career, then you can look out on our website and apply for those positions to improve your skills in that area. So it's just a myriad of possibilities on how temporary solutions can work to give you the opportunity to continue to grow and, like I used to say in my previous job, earn while you learn. So that's it in a nutshell. We've been around roughly since the late 80s, over 30 some years. Like I said, a lot of people even within the state government don't even know that we exist. They think that temporary employees or from the state are actually vetted and processed through a third party agency. But 90% of the temporaries that work for the state of North Carolina actually come through temporary solutions. We do the onboarding, make sure they get paid in a biweekly fashion, and we do the onboarding and the payroll process.
Great. Thank you so much, Eddie. Question I have for you. If someone wanted to get an opportunity to intern or shadow, the experience that they could potentially have with temporary solutions, how would they go about that?
Great question, Andrea. We are a division of the Office of State Human Resources, and along with the Ed to NC process and all the other um, North Carolina colleges coalition that are part of our partnership it relates to that, someone can apply to become an intern through OSHR, and then because we are a division, like I said before, of OSHR, during that intern process, they can actually come over to our office and see how we work from conception or inception from a temp employee all the way to the end result, and how we market to those people. And so that is an opportunity. And I'll share a quick story with you. We had a young lady a couple of summers ago, prior to the pandemic, that was selected to be an intern for OSHR, and she split time doing some projects there at our main OSHR office, and then came over to our office of Temporary Solutions so she can see how that division worked. And she was extremely, extremely excited about working with us, and she actually helped us in our marketing division, if you will, of temporary solutions, gave us some good tidbits on how to use the social media platforms to get our message out to a different demographic about state government. And one of the things we were pleasantly surprised about is a lot of young people don't know that working for the state of North Carolina could be a post college opportunity for them. They don't know that working for the state or municipality in that particular arena is an option. So we spend a lot of time educating folks that public service is an option after you complete your undergraduate graduate degree education.
Great, thank you so much. It was such a great response. And one of the things that I love to hear, and I've been asking many of our presenters across multiple agencies meet and greets, is pretty much the reason why, like why state government. Love hearing about their story if they're comfortable in sharing. So if you don't mind, if you're comfortable sharing a few moments of how did you wind up coming to Temp Solutions and why state government for you?
Well, my story is kind of a unique story. I'm from North Carolina originally, Goldsboro, Eastern North Carolina, and I spent 29 years in the United States Army. And when I retired and came back to Goldsboro, um, doing my kind of figuring out what was next for me. I always wanted to work for the state, and I had an opportunity once this position as a HR consultant one became available. A friend of mine directed me to the same website, the Work for NC OSHR website, and he said, "Hey, you might want to apply for this position." And it was a recruiter position along with the HR consultant position, and I applied for it and got an interview, and the rest is history. So, having coming off of my time in the service, and then had an opportunity to serve in this capacity in my home state, uh, helping people find meaningful employment, and also helping the state fulfill its mission and vision of taking care of the citizens and doing the business of the state. It's a win-win for me. And so that's how I got the opportunity to be a state employee, and I've loved every minute of it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And one of my last questions, I think, I would only believe that many one of the burning questions people will have is that if someone was hired as a temporary, what are the possibilities of their position possibly turning into permanent, or that temporary position helping them to landing a permanent position down the road?
That's a great question, Andre, and I was going to share that in my closing comments. Um, the state, if you have to look at it this way. Um, the state, um, is, as far as its employees, is getting older. We got a lot of people retiring, after 30 years and some prior to that, of commitment to the state. And so there's a need to continue that talent coming into the state. But there's a myriad of opportunities that, people are looking for, and those sections sometimes don't cross paths. But when those temporary opportunities become available and folks come into the state process and they bring a certain skill with them that folks wouldn't have normally had access to, because again, we're making sure that we get our message out to the job seekers that working for the state is an option. Once folks bring temporary employees on and they see the skills and the maturity that they bring to the role, folks like to have good people on their team. So if you come to work for the state and you get your foot in the door through a temp opportunity, the statistics say that temporary solutions average is anywhere from 40 to 50, 60 people a month going from temporary to permanent. Because once you show what you can do and you're there, folks don't want you to leave. And so they'll find a way, if at all possible, to figure out a way that they can keep you on the team in the permanent capacity. So it's the best way to do it, to be introduced to the state and possibly finding a permanent opportunity because you've immersed well within the team. You've shown what you can do as it relates to handling a myriad of subjects and or projects on a regular basis. And folks say, hey, that's a great team member. They fit well with what we have already in terms of our environment. And they try to find a way to keep you.
That's perfect. That's perfect. And I love hearing that, Eddie, because a small story and testimony on my side. I actually started as a temp with OSHR for a few months, and then the position I was offered a permanent position, or more or less a permanent position was available. I applied and was able to be hired on as a permanent employee within OSHR, and a small connection, which I'm pretty sure you probably did not realize. I never told you this before. In 2020, when OSHR had their very first virtual career expo, I attended, and you was the one manning the Temp Solutions booth at the time. And I came in and asked a question about the temp solution position I was applying for. And we actually chatted a little bit about that position, and I went ahead and applied for it, Eddie. So
Well,
granted, I know you did not know, and I was saving that story for a very special moment, and I decided to drop it on you on this at this moment on this call. That
well,
purposely.
that just made my day. I mean,
Hmm.
because I love doing what I do, and then hearing from the
Hmm.
benefactor that
Right.
that interaction led to us having such a great person on our team to lead this
Right.
particular effort, the Ed to NC
Right.
effort. And I tell everybody, until they tell you a story, it's like you've been here the whole while, from conception to where we are right now, and you are proof positive that
Right.
good people are out there. We just got to do our due diligence to make sure that the opportunities are available to them. And then once you get your foot in the door, your own talents and skill
That's
set,
it.
you know, leads the way for you. So that's great. I'm glad you shared that. You made my day.
Yeah, for sure. So again, 2020, that first OSHR Career Expo, that's when I first met Eddie Edwards in a in
Outstanding.
a in a virtual career booth.
That's all right.
And here we are 2 years later.
Yeah, teammates. That's great.
But Eddie, thank you so much for joining us here this afternoon for our agency meet and greet. Thank you again for sharing your wealth and knowledge of temporary solutions, and again for being an impression on my life, for even sharing, your wealth and knowledge for me even being present here in this moment. So again, this is a full circle moment for me as well. So I do
Yeah.
definitely appreciate that.
All
But this
right.
concludes our NC meeting for the state agency meet and greet with temporary solutions. We thank you everyone for attending this session here. Please note this session, as well as all of our agency meet and greets, will be are recorded and will be provided on the Ed to NC website on at December, hopefully before the end of the year, but in December. So we thank everyone again for attending, and everyone enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you again.
Goodbye.